Imagine you're Kevin Feige and you've just made Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Thanos, an awesome comic book villain, is now as big as Darth freaking Vader in pop culture. You've done something absolutely incredible, but now your mind goes towards the future. And so you devise a plan to use the multiverse and set up Avengers Secret Wars as your next massive MCU event. Something that could be just as big, if not bigger, than Avengers Endgame. And in order to do this, you decide that you need a big villain just as cool as Thanos, if not cooler. And you decide on Kang the Conqueror. But it's not just Kang the Conqueror. You actually want a ton of different versions of Kang. And you want them all to be played by the same actor. And you find an incredible up-and-coming talent and sign this person up for a massive contract to play multiple versions of this big bad villain for years of interconnected stories between shows and movies leading to your next big event. Then the first movie featuring that bad guy disappoints critics, fans, and makes the lowest box office of the entire Ant-Man franchise. And if that wasn't enough, 2 weeks later, that same actor, that guy that is supposed to play that massive role in your interconnected story, is arrested for domestic abuse. And on top of all of that, Jonathan Majors was just dropped, and by his talent manager. Oh man, that's a rough way to start the journey to outdoing Endgame. Now, there have been some recent updates and rumblings as far as what Marvel Studios is thinking about doing about this Jonathan Majors Kang situation. And I, of course, want to talk about all of that, but I also strongly feel that this is actually a opportunity for Marvel to change this big crazy plan that they have and instead make Doctor Doom a big focus of Secret Wars. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. First, we're going to get you up to date on everything that's happened with Jonathan Majors and the new reports on what Marvel is doing about it. And then in the back half of the video, I want to talk about Doctor Freaking Doom and why this should be the route that Marvel takes, I think almost regardless of what happens with Jonathan Majors. So smash a freaking like on this video and let's begin. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is sort of go over the details of the case with Jonathan Majors, and I know this is super uncomfortable. It's nothing that I want to be talking about. It's nothing that you want to be hearing about, but it is the reality of the situation. So let's just get through what's officially out there. TMZ reported that Jonathan Majors got into an altercation with a woman on March 25th. According to the outlet, the woman, who was later identified as Jonathan Majors' girlfriend, told the police that she was physically attacked during a domestic dispute. Insiders told TMZ that she had injuries that were visible on her body, and she was actually taken to the hospital but was in stable condition. Now, law enforcement received a call at 11 a.m. the next day, and it's still unclear who actually made that phone call. Some people are saying it was Jonathan Majors himself that made the phone call to get the police to go check on his girlfriend. Other people are saying no, it was the girlfriend that called. I'm still unclear on that. Now, again, a lot of this comes from TMZ, but reportedly this all had to do with Jonathan Majors getting text or receiving text from another woman. They're leaving a bar, they're in a cab, and this girlfriend sees the messages. She reaches for the phone, and then an altercation happens where apparently Jonathan Majors slapped her and put his hands around her neck. The two people spent the night apart, and then the woman reported the attack the following morning. That is according to TMZ. I know other people are saying that it was Majors that called, but I'm just telling you what was reported by TMZ. Jonathan Majors was arrested that day. A spokesperson for the New York Police Department said that the victim informed police that she was assaulted. And again, she was sent to the hospital. That Sunday, Jonathan Majors' legal team put out a statement saying that he was completely innocent, that this was all bogus, and that the woman herself had recanted her statements about the abuse. And the lawyer really made it seem like as soon as the DA looked over all of this new evidence, they were going to throw the case out immediately. But that did not happen. Jonathan Majors was arraigned on several charges of assault. Now, the next thing that happened were leaked text messages that were given to TMZ, and these appear to be statements that the lawyer was talking about on Sunday, talking about how this was all a big misunderstanding and that the woman was recanting the events. However, However, these text messages did not have the desired effect, at least in the court of public opinion. Honestly, it was kind of a bad look. And it has now been a month since the incident, since the arrest, and since all this stuff started coming out. Now, we've had even more updates, but they're really in the sort of rumor category. First of all, I did hear from some sources that Marvel Studios was looking to recast Jonathan Majors, that's the direction they were leaning in. Then Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic podcast had this to say. Even though there hasn't been any movement on the Jonathan Majors front, I've heard that's the kind of actor who, like if Jonathan Majors got the boot as Kang, someone like Damson Idris is the type of person Marvel may look at to replace him if, in fact, that happens. Now, Snyder has chimed in on this in the weeks past, also saying that Marvel Studios has met with Jonathan Majors' agent and they have discussed possibilities. And it seems like where we're at right now is Marvel Studios is exploring a ton of different possibilities. We've also had other insiders and scoopers come forward and say that Marvel Studios was, of course, like to hang on to Jonathan Majors, that they are incredibly concerned about the optics of the situation, but would prefer to keep him, but they are looking at recast options and they have talked to his agent about that. And so then crazily last night, following up all of these rumors of recast, all these different things, there was an exclusive run in Deadline talking about how Jonathan Majors has been dropped by Entertainment 360, which is a talent manager, and he's also been dropped by his PR team. So the article says Jonathan Majors and manager Entertainment 360 part ways, actor facing domestic violence allegations in NYC. Talent manager Entertainment 360 have dropped Jonathan Majors, several sources tell us. The recent move by Majors' longtime manager comes 3 weeks after the magazine Dream star was arrested on domestic violence charges in New York City. Currently starring in Creed 3 and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Majors' exit from Entertainment 360 was due to issues of the actor's personal behavior, we are informed. Majors' representation problems don't stop with Entertainment 360. PR folks, the Letty Company, also initiated a break with the Avengers actor in the last month. They also add that a fashion company, Valentino, and Majors have mutually agreed that he's not going to be at the Met Gala this year. Now, interestingly, in the article itself, they talk about how he shot for Loki Season 2, and they say that there have been zero conversations in the Marvel camp to drop him from the MCU. And so some people are clinging to that as this saving grace that even though he just lost his PR team and his managers, it's all going to be fine and he'll still be at Marvel Studios. And the thing is, we really don't know. I think a lot of this is going to depend on what comes out with the court case or what's going on with that. But here's the thing. These agencies, they're looking into this themselves, right? So his managers and his PR firm, they are looking into all the facts and they're making a decision. For a PR firm to drop a client like this, definitely a very, very bad sign. And as we just stated, there are rumblings out there that they are looking not just randomly, but at actual actors to replace Jonathan Majors if that was indeed a way they were going to go. And so this line from Deadline is essentially the fact that they have reached out to Marvel Studios about this and they got back saying that zero conversations have been had about dropping him from the MCU. Otherwise, in this Deadline article, they would have said Marvel declined to comment. And so personally, I think this is a major development that doesn't look good for Jonathan Majors. I really think Marvel is in a very tricky spot, but they are likely going to either recast Kang the Conqueror or go in a different direction with what they wanted to do with the multiverse saga leading up to Secret Wars. Now, look, I'm a big proponent of innocent until proven guilty. That's where I stand on this, and I think that the entire internet has a lot of baggage when it comes to issues like this. There are a lot of people that think successful men are just being taken down by women. There are a lot of people that think that powerful men are still able to hurt women and get away with it. And so there's a lot of baggage that comes to this issue. I'm sure you watching this video right now, you've got your own opinion on this entire situation. But I think if you take a step back from how you feel about this exact situation, we can probably all agree this is a super bad look for Marvel, not a fun time for Marvel fans, and very much something that I think Marvel needs to get past. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, the reason this is so ridiculous for Marvel Studios is because they have invested so much into Jonathan Majors, not only with actual money as far as his contract, but they have invested stories, writing, other movies and shows, and they have this massive plan for this guy to be not just the big bad of Secret Wars, but a ton of other big bads all throughout this saga leading into this next event movie. For me personally, the only way that Marvel will really be able to get past this and just keep Jonathan Majors and just keep it moving is if this case gets thrown out. There's still an option for this case to be thrown out for whatever happens in May to be an event that essentially makes it look like it was a massive nothing burger. But from where I'm standing right now, I see that as kind of a low possibility. And Marvel probably sees that as the same thing because that's why they are looking to recast Kang the Conqueror. But I think even if they recast Kang the Conqueror, it's still just going to be such a lingering stink over the role, over the character, and over all of Marvel that Marvel needs to drastically change what their current plan is. And that's where Doctor Doom comes into play because Doctor Doom has been a major part of all the different versions of Secret Wars in the comics. And right up until about 4 months ago, most Marvel fans thought Doctor Doom was going to be revealed to be the actual big bad and the actual villain for Avengers Secret Wars. But as far as we understand it from different insiders and scoopers, that's not the plan. They are actually going to have Jonathan Majors play different versions of Kang in many different projects leading up to the Kang dynasty, which will see the entire dynasty, those group of Kangs that we see in the post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Those people are going to be the big villains in that next Avengers movie. And then on top of that, guys, apparently the Kang the Conqueror that we see die at the end of Quantumania will not actually die and will come back with the powers of the Beyonder. That's right, this omni-powerful, crazy, white disco suit, silver shoulder pad, crazy looking dude is going to be in the MCU, except instead of being the actual Beyonder as they are in Marvel Comics, they're instead going to make the Beyonder a variant of Kang. So even the big bad of Secret Wars is going to be a variant of Kang played by Jonathan Majors that is the Beyonder. And so that is the current plan. And again, I just don't think that works with this new actor. Not only is it going to be incredibly hard to get somebody of the caliber of performer as Jonathan Majors to be able to have the range to play all of these different versions of Kang, but you'll still just have a ton of people just being reminded of this crazy situation and being sort of taken out of the story. And I think it's too late to just cross off the word Kang in the Kang Dynasty title and write as like the Von Doom or the Doom Dynasty. So I think regardless, you're going to get a lot of Kang and you're going to get Kang in the Kang Dynasty. But I just think instead of making the Kang the Conqueror variant, the one that taps into the power of the Beyonders, instead of making a Kang the big bad of all of Secret Wars, you just shift that part to Doctor Doom. And there's actually precedence for this in Marvel Comics, in the Jonathan Hickman lead up to his version of Secret Wars. Despite having a big role in the beginning of that story where the second incursion happens in Latveria, Doctor Doom is not seen a lot. And yet at the end of that entire run, it is revealed that Doctor Doom has been pulling strings behind the scenes. He has been understanding what is going on with the incursions, and he actually has a plan to destroy the Beyonders, save what's left of the multiverse, and create Battleworld. Like, that's literally why many Marvel fans thought that's the way it was going to go down. Doctor Doom would just come in at the very end, supplant Kang as the actual big bad, take over, and be the main villain for Secret Wars. And Marvel still has a myriad of different projects, including a Fantastic Four movie, all coming out before the Kang Dynasty. So I think what they should do is look to start injecting Doctor Doom or Doctor Doom variants into this multiversal saga to start to get that idea into the fans' minds, and then just kind of pull a bait and switch at the end of the Kang Dynasty and instead make Doctor Doom the big focus of Secret Wars. And in fact, I would make it the actor that played Doctor Doom from the OG Fantastic Four movies with Chris Evans as the Human Torch. That's right, Julian McMahon as Doctor Doom. I think this dude is at an age now where he could play this perfect, older, more grizzled variant of Victor Von Doom. This would be perfect and very similar to what Feige is doing with the X-Men. So the current plan is to utilize a lot of the Fox X-Men, a lot of the older actors for Avengers Secret Wars, before then introducing the MCU 616 version of the X-Men in the regular MCU after Secret Wars. You could do the same thing with Doctor Doom. Julian would be perfect to be playing a version of Doom that we have met before, that will be reinvigorated and more powerful than ever. And perhaps you could even establish where or what the MCU 616 Doctor Doom is doing as well. And I really do think that this would take a pretty crazy situation in what is going on with Jonathan Majors and making it into something that fans can actually get pretty excited about, because a lot of fans are honestly not even really feeling Kang the Conqueror like that. And again, Quantumania wildly underperformed. I just think there's a lot of signs to suggest to Marvel that they should audible at the line. And I think diving in to Doctor Doom and magic and the craziness of that character could be brilliant. And you can build that character right along with Kang the Conqueror, because those two characters have a lot of history together in Marvel Comics as well. And just to be crystal clear about this, if there's a scenario in which the case with Jonathan Majors gets completely thrown out and the majority of fans feel like he's innocent, it was all a big misunderstanding, then of course, keep Jonathan Majors, keep Kang, and do your thing. But if Marvel feels like they have to recast, I think they also need to shift into Doctor Doom. I don't think it's going to work to just recast Kang, do all the stuff you were going to do anyways. It's just never going to be the same. It's not going to feel as good, and it's going to remind us of bad things from the past. But of course, let me know what you think about all of this craziness. What do you think is going to end up happening with Jonathan Majors? And do you agree that shifting into Doctor Doom would be a good way to change the way we are going to view the multiverse and to get us more excited about Secret Wars? Smash a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and if you want to watch more, why not check out this video I recently did going over new details about the next Star Wars movies.